why a suspect in a deadly hit-and-run case that killed a beloved bartender was in court today. Details in a live report.
Plus, San Diego police are investigating a second sexual assault near the San Diego State campus.
Mexico is making history. Their next president will be a woman.
The city of San Diego files a lawsuit against SeaWorld for unpaid rent, how much they're looking for, and how the theme park is responding.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts right now. The man who police say hit and killed a local beloved bartender and then drove off pleaded not guilty in court today. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Chiquetto. Police say 37-year-old Brandon Janik was driving drunk when he hit and killed 47-year-old Josh Gilliland as he was crossing the street. Gilliland was on his way to work at Cheers, a bar on Adams Avenue in University Heights. CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes was inside the courtroom during the arraignment.
She joins us now live with details on the emotional day in court. Kirsten?
Yeah, Josh Gilliland was hit and killed by a drunk hit-and-run driver back in June of this year. Nearly 3 months later, police arrested their suspect, Brandon Janik of San Diego. Now, amazingly, in all of this, Josh's friends and co-workers say they forgive Brendan despite their heartfelt loss because Josh was such a good person. His love will continue to live on through their forgiveness, even though his life was taken too soon.
He was just a sweet, gentle, kind soul.
Lisa Kogan was Josh's friend. She says in times like this, forgiveness is key.
I forgive Brandon. I met his ex-wife and his daughter today, and we hugged. And they kept apologizing and saying sorry. It's not just our friend we lost, but there's so many people that this is a loss and tragedy for, not just for Josh and his family and the people that love him, but for Brandon's family and his daughters.
Lisa describes the night Josh was killed.
There were some good Samaritans that saw this car on the road and they called 911. And unfortunately, no units were able to come. And so paramedics and firemen were called. They realized the guy was drunk, told him not to drive. And once the emergency service people left, he got back in his car. So this was something that was completely preventable.
And everybody was endeared to him for good reason. You know, he could serve one drink, and by the end of that, he was your best friend.
Mickey DeGia was Josh's co-worker at Cheers, the bar where Josh worked for more than 20 years.
He was goofy, he was genuine. He didn't forget people. He actually called. He told people he loved them. Josh, many of us were bartenders, and we actually do what we can to prevent things like this happening.
She has a message for drivers who think about getting behind the wheel after a drink.
If you're drinking and driving every day and you find that you're able to get away with it more times than you can, how lucky have you been? And maybe you want to think otherwise, because what's happening to Brandon and his family isn't fair, but it's what he did and tried to get away with it.
Josh's friends say that his spirit will live on through their forgiveness. Brandon Janik's next court date is set for October 25th. Reporting live for CBS 8, I'm Kirsten Holmes. Back to you.
Thank you, Kirsten. Right now, the Sheriff's Department is asking for help finding a pair of burglars that broke into a Baskin-Robbins in San Marcos twice in 1 week. You can see two intruders on your screen breaking into the Nordall Road store on July 14th after getting through a combination lockbox. We're told they stole $120 in cash, but then on July 17th, the Sheriff's Department says the two came back, breaking the glass front door to get in. This time they got around $1,500. Anyone with information is asked to call San Diego Crime Stoppers.
Tonight we're learning new details about the man who was stabbed to death in the parking lot of a McDonald's restaurant on Midway Drive. Police say 44-year-old Joshua Goodman was riding his bike in the parking lot last week when a suspect got out of a light-colored minivan, chased Goodman, and stabbed him. Investigators say the attacker then took off in the minivan with a woman driving. Goodman was taken to a hospital where he died. Police are still looking for the suspects. They do believe that the suspect and victim knew each other.
Governor Gavin Newsom is deploying more California National Guard service members to our border to try and stop fentanyl and other drugs from coming into the U.S. The number of service members will jump from 40 to 60 at ports of entry, including San Ysidro and Otay Mesa. So far, the California National Guard has helped seize almost 12,000 pounds of fentanyl this year. The governor's office says a past Guard expansion led to a nearly 600% increase in seizures across the state last year. The governor did not say when the Guard members will be at the border.
Tonight, a San Diego City Council member is working to stiffen penalties for people caught distributing hate speech flyers. San Diego police tell us since July, there have been at least 8 incidents of anti-Semitic flyers littering neighborhoods. Councilmember Raul Campillo, who says he's seen some of the flyers himself, is working on legislation that would make littering a misdemeanor. That means distributing hate speech flyers would be punishable by fines and up to a year in jail.
Tonight, police are looking for a suspect or suspects in 2 separate sexual assaults near San Diego State last month.
Both attacks happened after the young women had called for rideshare vehicles. As CBS 8's David Godfredson reports, detectives say both incidents have similarities, and they're looking for surveillance video from the neighborhood.
This was the scene in the 5,000 block of Rockford Drive on the evening of August 18th and into the early morning hours of August 19th. Captured by a neighbor's surveillance camera. It was the weekend before the first day of classes at San Diego State University, and neighbors say the streets were crowded.
The sororities have had pretty big parties. Just yesterday there was a big one in the sorority behind us, and I think there was a live band over there, and they were just raging. Between midnight and 2 a.m. on August 19th, 2 young women said they were picked up by what they thought was a rideshare driver. One of them says she was sexually assaulted inside the vehicle, and her friend witnessed the attack before the driver let them both out. Neighbors tell me police have been knocking on doors on Rockford Drive looking for video of the 2 women who were apparently sitting on the curb waiting for the rideshare. In this situation, you know, when a driver pulls up and the girl thinks it's her Uber and she gets in it, what's a cop to do? I mean, the cop doesn't know at that time that the girl's not safe. The very next weekend, around 2 a.m. on August 27th, a second woman says she was picked up in a residential area south of San Diego State by who she thought was a rideshare driver and sexually assaulted inside the vehicle. She was then dropped off at 70th Street near Saranac. SDSU students say they are scared.
It's really disappointing. For sure, that this keeps happening. Not good. It's been 3 weeks and there's already been 2 cases. That's not good.
Police put out a suspect description, a man in his 20s, possibly Hispanic, with a heavy accent that was difficult to understand. 5 foot 8 inches tall, poofy hair, driving a dark-colored sedan. These students are so young. For a lot of them, it's the first time they went away to college, and they just don't know. Police are urging students to be safe when ordering a ride share, confirm the license plate and make and model of the car before getting in, and when the driver shows up, ask him a simple question: who are you here to pick up? He should be able to identify the passenger. At San Diego State, David Godfredson, CBS 8.
Thanks, David. Tonight, San Diego nurses are warning Kaiser Permanente that in 10 days they plan to picket. The nurses gave hospital leaders the 10-day notice this morning. The nurses we spoke to today say they want to spread awareness about what they believe are unsafe staffing issues at the Kaiser hospitals. Some of the nurses believe that the staffing issues were made worse after Kaiser opened a new hospital in San Marcos last month. They say it spread staff even thinner and that they warned hospital leaders before the opening, but were ignored. Meantime, CBS 8 reached out to Kaiser Permanente about the picket. They sent us a statement saying they received the notification and that, quote, "It's important for our members and patients to know that informational picketing is not a strike and does not impact our care delivery or operations, which will continue as normal."
It's looking like Mexico will have its first female president come next year. Last night, Mexico's ruling party selected former Mexico City Mayor Claudia Sheinbaum to oppose female engineer Xochitl Galvez. CBS 8's Abby Black is live in the East Village tonight, where there's a political discussion happening right now about the race. Abby?
Marcella, we are at UC San Diego's Park and Market, and let's show you right now there are 200 people that have crowded the auditorium to hear from a Mexican political journalist, former Baja and Mexico's electoral leaders, and educators about Mexico's historical presidential election. This event is hosted by SETI's Universidad at UC San Diego in an effort to better understand Mexico's political landscape and outlook. Mexico is making political history.
It doesn't matter what happened. But next October 2024, we're going to have the first woman as president of Mexico, which I believe is wonderful. Finally.
Last night, Mexico's current governing party selected former Mexico City Mayor Claudia Sheinbaum as their candidate. She'll face off against Senator Xochitl Galvez in the June presidential election. UC San Diego's Director of U.S.-Mexican Studies, Rafael Fernandez de Castro, says there's a lot of work to do to get out the vote in a country that still has the famously intense machismo effect.
And I hope Mexicans will get very excited, so hopefully we'll have a lot of turnaround the day of the election.
UC San Diego's Center for Mexican Studies is co-hosting a discussion tonight to better understand the country's presidential election and its implications on U.S. relations.
In the next 12 years, we'll have an enormous possibility to improve the relationship between the U.S. and Mexico.
While both candidates lean socially progressive, climate change will be top of mind, and so will immigration. Fernandez de Castro says both candidates are already ahead in strengthening its relationship with the U.S.
Both of them speak English, which is very important. López Obrador, he doesn't speak any English. That really makes a difference.
But he warns the strength of that relationship could depend on the outcome of the 2024 U.S. presidential election.
But I believe that we should really cooperate and don't follow the Republican rhetoric about seeing Mexico as the enemy.
Not only are these women making political history in Mexico, but this will be an historical relationship with the U.S.
I believe Mexico and the U.S. have an enormous possibility to better integrate economically speaking, and that will really increase the well-being of Mexicans and of Americans.
With no expected changes, Mexican voters will go to the polls on June 1st to elect their first female president. Marcella?
Thanks, Abby.
A major traffic alert. Sections of the 5 that run over the 163 and through downtown will close for emergency repairs twice this month.
Here's a map for you so you can see what we're talking about. Starting tomorrow night at 9 p.m., Friday, September 8th through Monday the 11th, the southbound lanes in red right there of Interstate 5 will be closed from Interstate 8. Then 2 weeks later, on September 29th through October 2nd, the northbound lanes will close, again Friday to Monday, 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. This is, of course, going to have a big impact on traffic through the downtown area those 2 weekends. You can use alternative routes like the 805 or 163 and make sure you leave some extra time to get to where you need to be.
Tonight, more than 430,000 postcards have been mailed out to registered voters in San Diego County for the November 7th special election.
Voters in the 4th District will vote to fill the vacant supervisor seat for the remainder of the term. At the same time, residents in Fallbrook and Rainbow will vote on whether or not to exit the County Water Authority. Everyone should expect to receive a ballot by the week of October 8th.
Still ahead tonight, the fight to save pine trees growing in Coronado.
And a former Trump advisor was just convicted of contempt of Congress. Why he's now seeking a mistrial.
Plus, a school district in Southern California is considering a policy that would tell parents if their child changes their gender identity.
Temperatures were a little bit warmer for today. We're talking about a warm up by this weekend. Also, high surf set to return. We're going to cool off by next week. Your complete forecast is coming up.